Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back to my channel. So this is our Buttons and Strings 2.5. So this is just what I've done so far. And because stitching takes a long time, I may be doing this quite often where we'll do a bit of it and then we'll come back and we'll do some more. Or I will show you like where I'm at and what I'm going to do next, kind of like a bit of a show and tell, because it takes a long time to do the different things. And a lot of this I just do in my chair at night while we're watching TV. So this is where I've got so far. What I did was I took the hoop off very carefully. This was very loose, and these strings would have come right off the buttons if I wasn't very careful. So we do need to make sure that we either wrap around the button or that we sew them down somehow. But what I did was I carefully took it off the hoop, and I put a heavy piece. I really don't know what this is. It's kind of like denim on one side, and then the other side is really soft. I love this fabric. I got a whole big bolt of it from a secondhand store, and I've used it for a really long time for a lot of different things. But it's a really heavy. It's heavy like jean material. It's not a thin fabric. So I went ahead and I took the hoop off carefully. I cut this square out of the other fabric and set it on my table here. And then when I took the hoop off, I carefully slid this off onto my heavy fabric square and then put the bottom part of the hoop underneath my white fabric and then just kind of lined it all up and got it pushed back together again. So I got it pushed back together without too much of a problem, just knowing that I had to be careful right from the start. And then what I did was, it was after I went ahead and put this fabric on, I went ahead and I did a cross stitch on every one of these joints. So just for decoration and to hold it down. And then I did go through, I got my maroon thread again, and I went through and I tried to make sure that I came up on the outside of our string and then went back down on the outside of the next string to hold these in place. But even if I only caught one spot or another, that's still going to kind of hold it there. So I did that all the way around. I went ahead and I caught these V's underneath all of the buttons so that they would be sturdy. Now the thing is, what would you do with it? I also sewed on this little hexie, and then sewed a little button on top of it, and I glued it on first. I went ahead and figured out exactly where I wanted it because this is 8-sided. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. This is 8-sided, and this little hexie is only 6-sided. And so I wanted to make sure I lined it up the way that I thought it looked well. I lined it up so that these two flat sides matched up with these two flat sides and that these points were in the center of the other flat side. And then I put a little glue on it to hold it there before I sewed it down with this button. And that worked pretty good so that I didn't wind up getting it off or turned or something like that. So now what would you do with it? Well, you could, if I had cut it in a size that would fit in a frame or stretch over a canvas, I could do that with it. So, if you think you might want to frame it, go ahead and cut it to that size. I really didn't, when I'm doing my little experiments, I don't always think that far ahead. I never think about what am I going to do with it. It's like, I want to see if it works. Then it works, and then it's kind of like, now what am I going to do with it? But, so I've been looking at it, and I think I have figured out what I am going to do with it. But you could leave it in the hoop, and you could even put a little bit of lace in around the hoop here so that the lace comes out, or lace around the hoop at the bottom, to have it a lacy edge. You can leave it like it is, just like this, and you can tack all of this back. I mean, I would cut a bunch of it off, but you could tack this all back so that it just goes and hangs on your wall just like that. That's really quite pretty, just like it is. Now I want to do some stitching and stuff. I want to do some seed stitches, and I haven't decided if I want to do some, possibly just do some stitching like this. I thought maybe some bullion stitching. I'm not really exactly sure what I want to do. And I'm not even sure where I'm going to do it. So originally I thought that I might do like some seed stitches in each one of these. And then I thought, oh, maybe I would do seed stitches in the center. Then I thought, no, let's do nothing in the center. Let's do it on the edge. So, a lot of times when you're creating something, it's just you do what feels right at the time. So, and because I don't want to say it, because I wasn't stitching it at the time, my mind can go in a million different ways. I could do this, I could do that, I could do this, I could do that. My mind does that all night long. But then when you actually sit down to do it, just sit down and go ahead and do whatever feels right at the time. Because there isn't anything that's right or wrong. You can always make another one if you don't like the way it looks. You can always take the stitches that you've done out. So, you can, just play with it. Have a good time. It's supposed to be pleasurable to just sit down and create and just lose yourself in it. So, what I think that I might do, so we're going to take this off again, and I haven't done this since I put it all together. So I'm hoping it's sturdier than it was last time. Now we're going to see if I can get it off because I made it really tight. Yeah, okay, it's coming off. All right, so now let's see. It does feel much sturdier because all of these corners are down. Before, when it came off, just even moving it a little bit, all of these threads were wanting to go in all different directions. So doing that really did help. And now that that's done, I'm a big one for doing my stitches outside of a hoop. So I think that I may leave it out of the hoop to do my stitching so that I can kind of see what things look like, because I'm going to have it like this. So being in the hoop, it doesn't look the way that I think it's, I take the hoop off and then it's like, oh, that's not what I thought it was going to look like. So, but what I thought that I could do with this is, I thought that I'm going to do some stitching on it, and let me show you what I think I may do with it. This might look familiar. It's been a while. I was doing a coffee table book, and I think I'm going to work on this again. Well, I know I will work on it again. Whether I will do a video or not, I'm not any further than I was on the last video. I stepped away from this completely, and so I'm hoping to, and what I think that I will do is try and video it as I go along, but not put those videos up till it's done. So that when you see it come back out again, you'll know that it's the finish of, in other words, you'll get to see each spread in a video. There might be 10 or 20 videos, I don't know, but you won't get another 2 videos and then all of a sudden it disappears again, because this has 6 videos on it already, and then that was like a year ago or maybe even more. And, and I've stepped away from it and I haven't done anything since. But I thought what I may like to do is, this cover is a very nice cover. And I thought really I would like to put this on the cover of this book, because this is what I do. I play with things and I never know what I'm going to do with them. But like, this book is all about your favorite things and that type of thing. And my favorite thing is to create something just for the heck of it. So what more fitting thing to put on the front that's something I created that I didn't know what I was going to do with it, and now I do. I'm going to put it on this book. So it's going to wind up. I'm going to have to even straighten it up. It's cut very crooked. And I think what I'm going to do is cut it so that it has some white around the edge. But this whole thing covers everything. So I think that I will make it so that, well, let's just kind of do it like this. So there's a little bit of blue sticking out, not much, and this will be straight. And, but I think I'm going to leave a little bit of the blue around the edges. That's my thoughts at this point in time. Goodness knows by the time that I finish sewing this, what will happen. But, yep, a little blue around the edges. And then I'll glue it on. And I don't know that I'll come around the edge, but maybe I will come around the edge and then put some kind of a lace or something along here and around the edge, and maybe even around this corner, going just to the inside a little bit. And I don't know how much of that I will do and show you, because I think that this is going to go out next to my chair and I'm going to play with it. And I don't know even how full I'm going to get it. I have seen some really full things lately where it is just covered with stitches and beads and all sorts of things. And I think, oh, I really want to do that. But I don't know that I want to do it on here because it would take away from this. So I just haven't decided, and that's totally okay. But I have decided that I want to do some different color stitching. So I have, these all came from my secondhand store. And so I thought that this would look nice on here. Now it's the variegated, so the really light part of it probably isn't going to show up much, but the stitching will show. And especially since I put this heavy fabric behind it, now when you stitch on it, the stitches they'll puff a little bit because there is something behind it to give it a little bit of lift. And so even if the color doesn't show much, the stitch itself will show. And it's kind of nice that I do have these lines here because I could do something with those lines, like, go straight down the line or do a zigzag on the line or something like that. So that's kind of nice. And there are some flowers here. I think I want to do some bullion stitches, so kind of like long snaky stitches. And because the book is blue, I pulled out some blues because I thought, I might want to do some blue. Now, as I'm looking at it, this blue looks way too dark to me. The book is a light blue. There's no blue anywhere here. And this is just really with the light yellow behind it. Pastels are not my color, but I think I'm going to almost have to kind of go with pastels a little bit. Not necessarily pastels, just the lighter colors, pinks and yellows, even green. Even brown or tan would be okay, but this blue I think is going to be too dark. But I do have this little variegated, and this is really thin. I'm not sure what weight thread this is, but this is super thin. So, but this might, make something nice to put on here. So I thought that might be nice. And then I have this really thin yarn, and I thought this might be nice for a bullion stitch. Because it's thin compared to what yarn is like, but it's thick compared to like your stitching kind of threads. So I think it might make a nice puffy bullion stitch. So I'm, going to keep that with it. And then I even pulled out like some flowers that match the book. And then I just took these flowers and just pulled that little center plastic piece off. And I think that I might put them like on the corners like that, and then stitch on them. Maybe just stitch around the center and leave the petals kind of poofy and just do like a circle type stitch around the center. Maybe stitch up a little bit like this. Maybe stitch some leaves, do some green that I can kind of put underneath a little bit to give it a leaf. But that goes really nicely with the color of that book. So I'm going to keep this with it also. And this is going to take a really long time because it really does. If you watch someone where they're making these types of things, I don't know how many videos they have before they're done. Because it winds up taking a lot of work. And so I'll try and remember to bring it back and show it to you. But I did want to show you just what I did with this also. I wanted to show you the little cross stitches look really cute. So, and when I do get some of the stitching done, I will show you that. And, a lot of our projects now I think might kind of be in this vein. We'll kind of like, I'm going to give you the base This is what the base looks like. And then you can take it in any direction that you want to. And then I'll come back as I'm working through it and show you what it looks like. Instead of doing the same piece every single week for, let's say this takes me 20 weeks. You know, that's only like 20 hours or maybe even 10 hours if they're only half-hour videos. That's not very long. So, you know, the one thing about crafting is don't look at something like, oh, I have to get it done. Just look at like what you have got done. And like, oh, I got this done. I got this on here. And so do it that way so that you don't think, I need to get this book cover done. I need to get all my stitching done. I need to get this glued on. I need to get it cut. Just take your time. Relax and enjoy it. And if you're working on it and you're working on it and you're working on it, you think, I want to work on something else, put it aside and work on something else. There's nothing wrong with what they call UFOs, unfinished objects. They're there for you to come back to someday when you need to come to something and you don't know what you want to do. Look through your unfinished objects and you'll find out that it's like, ooh, I think I want to work on that again, or I want to work on that again. You may find out that you look through them and you find out you want to work on 5 of them again. So this right here is something that I haven't even thought about in a while. And then I thought, well, I was thinking you really can't use this for a journal cover because when you go to fold it in half, it's got the buttons on it. And it's like, well, you know, I could make a thick spine so the buttons could actually sit on the spine. And it's like, well, that kind of takes away from the point of the whole geometrical shape we've got going on here. And so then I thought it would have to be an awfully big book for that to be the cover. And when I thought that, then I thought, oh, hey, I should see if it fits. And look, it fits. Like there is just basically almost like the perfect size to have a little of the blue at the top and bottom to give me a contrasting color to work with and to come all the way to both sides and still keep our whole pattern that we have here. So I think this is pretty cool. And it made me look at this again and made me think, I really want to do this again. And then I thought, I wish I had got it done by Thanksgiving because the whole family came for Thanksgiving and we could have like played in this. I could have had everybody fill out some cards. This coffee table book is like for when you have company, for them to go ahead and leave you a little something. So here on the very first page says, leave your mark. Who, why, and when. Who was here? Why were you here? And when were you here? I was here for Thanksgiving in 2025. And so just sign in like a guest book. And so I have just lots of pages for that. I need to like fold all of them so that it's not real stiff. But so that is how it starts. And then it goes on to memory pages, in case you haven't seen this book before. So the memory pages are pockets with cards that can be written on. And so this spread here is all about playing games. What's your favorite game? What's your favorite game memory? Who did you play your favorite game with? Did you play a game while you were here today? Date your card. What'd you play? Who'd you play? And did you win? Or did you come in next? There's no losers here. So I always taught my kids, the fun part about playing a game is not winning or losing. The fun part of playing the game is playing the game. Somebody wins the game. It's that last final 2 seconds. Oh, they won. The fun part is the playing. So, you know. But these are just watercolor inks with a homemade stamp for the lines. And I just made a bunch of lined pages. Did a collage. Even have a little spinner here. Did a collage of a bunch of different crafty, fun things. Not crafty things, but games. And so there's pockets here. And there are pockets across the bottom. And pretty cards, because that goes along with the page of games. So different backed playing cards. And there's here, there's pocket here, And there's a pocket down here. And then just all sorts of different game memorabilia. So that somebody can say, oh, I want to tell a story about the time that I played the game with so-and-so when I was 3. Go ahead, tell the story, put it in the book. And then, you know, everybody can come and they can read these stories. They can read just the little quick snippets for the small ones. Who you played with, what you played, and who won. So, you know, it's just, this one is going to be your favorite childhood or school memory. So that's what I figured was going to go in here. And then this is the last one that we worked on in the book, and it's not even in yet. And it says, it wasn't funny then, but it is now. And I'm surprised nobody came back and told me when I did this. If you watch this video, I did I-I-I-S instead of I-T-I-S. I didn't even notice it until, I think, yeah, it wasn't even when I was prepping the video. I think it was when I was getting ready to like put this together, and I went, wait a minute, that's not it, that's I. So I wound up cutting it like this. I'm going to kind of flare out my T just a little bit, and that'll fix it all. I thought I was going to have to redo it, but I really didn't even have to redo it, so it turned out okay. But so this is about stories about things that happened that, you know, you always tell somebody, oh, you'll laugh about it later. That's what these stories are. Stories that you didn't think were funny when they happened, but later on you tell the story like it was funny, because really it was once you've stepped away from it. So, but anyways, I'm going to work on this book at some point, and I will go ahead and keep you up to date on this every so often. But the book, we're not going to go through the book again until I actually have it finished. But I will do videos as I go. So once it is finished, you will get to see the step-by-step for each one of the spreads. I'm not even sure how many spreads that there will be. But at some point, you'll see the whole rest of that whole series. So, because I just don't want to leave you hanging again, and I know that I've already done it, and I did it with one other book, Memory Lane. And Memory Lane was a very personal book that I still haven't touched and don't really want to right now. But maybe I will someday. So, but I do. I want to go ahead and get this finished. These are all the extra pages here that I just used to keep the book solid. Because I ripped out so many pages that, and then I glued 2 pages together. But I don't want the book to kind of cave in on itself. Once I get all of this in here, that's going to take the pages of all those, or it'll take the space of all those extra pages we ripped out. But I just keep those in the back just to kind of keep my book, you know, just keep it nice and solid instead of it getting kind of squashed in and losing. And really, it's been a long time since I've touched it, so it could have got squished had I not put those in there. So that's what those are there for. Alrighty, well, that was part 2. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on this with these, and I will be back next week. We are going to do the make your own beads, your fabric beads. And someone asked how to do the pocket posies, so very possibly we'll do those also. So, but we definitely will do make your own beads. I've got some here that are just partially finished, and those are to put with our prosperity hens. So we'll make our own beads, and maybe we'll put together a string of prosperity hens with them also. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. It is good to be back. It is good to hear from all of you. It's really good to hear from all of you. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.